Contender I wrote over a weekend because I was with the Los Angeles Magazine and ABC Radio, and I was giving. Do you guys, when I say Joan Allen, do you guys know who that is? So she's on that show right now called Zero Day on Netflix. Anyway, I was giving her an award for Best Supporting Actress, and I sat up on stage. I said, I should write a movie for Joan Allen, because if he does it, it'll be good. And in front of me were like all the biggest heavyweights in Hollywood. Bill Murray was there, Steven Spielberg was there, Mel Gibson was there, and Joan was there. And when I sat down, and she sat down, she said, why don't you write me a movie? And I said, really? And then her agent said, yeah, we'll consider it. So being naive and thinking I had my ticket, I went home, and I had my little girl. She was like 6 years old then. And George Bush had just announced he was going to run for the presidency. So she says to me, Daddy, how come no woman ever runs for president? And I said, it's a good question. I don't know. A lot of good women. And she said, how about if Mommy runs for president? And I said, Mommy, busy being Mommy right now. She's not interested. What about Grandma? And I said, Grandma's selling real estate in Greenwich, Connecticut, and doing really well. So she doesn't want to do it. And then Paige, my little girl, she says to me, well, then I'm going to be the first woman president. And I told my then wife, excuse me, and I went downstairs, I turned on my computer, and I turned it off 48 hours later. I knew what I had to write. And I sent it to Joan. And I got a call 5 days later on the phone, and an Irish woman is speaking to me. She goes, I'm going to do it. And I said, great, who is this? She goes, it's Joan Allen. And she was in Ireland playing a role. She was in character. And that's how we got Joni to do it. And then I learned that no studio would spend $20 million on a movie starring Joan Allen and directed by Mr. Nobody. But they would let Mr. Nobody direct Sharon Stone or Michelle Pfeiffer, who both wanted to do it. And I thought Joan Allen was the best actor in the world. And I had to go find other people to be in the movie. And so I went to Paul Newman to play the President of the United States. I assume we all know who Paul Newman is, my favorite actor of all time. And Paul Newman said, I'm too old, not even going to open it. And I was told that somehow Jeff Bridges had read the script. Now, they invite me to go visit Jeff Bridges in Santa Barbara. How many people here have seen or heard of The Big Lebowski? Everyone, right? Okay. So I go to his house. It's 10 a.m. on a Saturday. I knock on the door, and he opens, and he's in his Big Lebowski outfit. Now, by that I don't mean a Big Lebowski-like outfit, Mike. He was in his Big Lebowski costume, literally the outfit. And he says, I know what you're thinking, but Lebowski was wearing my clothing. And he asks me, you want to drink something? So I'm a funny guy, so what do I say? What? White Russian. I said, I'll have a White Russian. No, I don't drink. I've never drank in my life. But Jeff says, good idea. He comes with 6 White Russians and 2 croissants. And throughout our 2-hour conversation, he consumed all the White Russians. He was drunk as a skunk when it was all done. He put his arm around me, and he said, the dude as president, who'd have thought it? And next thing you know, a few months later, I'm shooting The Contender, and a year after that, we're all at the Oscars.